What's up, guys? Python here, back with another video, and today I am bringing you my predictions for the 2022-23 NHL season. I'm doing everything: standings, awards, playoffs, with my how I have the standing set up, all of that. We're gonna be doing it, and then obviously I've never been wrong in my life, so these are gonna be accurate. No, but in all seriousness, before people comment, I know it's gonna happen either way, but before people comment, getting mad about how wrong I am and everything, and then people coming back in the middle of the year saying, "Oh, this was a stupid take, this and that." It is hard to predict exactly where every 32 team is going to end up. It's hard to predict just anything really with this sport. Hockey is one of those sports where anything could happen, so it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be 1,000%, 100% accurate. So before people comment, I would like to see you guys upload your predictions on YouTube and drop your predictions, and we'll see how well they age. If you're going to be one of those people that end up criticizing how I end up doing here, this is just all for fun, and anything can happen, like I said. So we will see. So before we jump into this, so be sure to leave a like on the video if you do enjoy, especially because I worked hard on the graphics, got a couple cool little things ready for this video, and then as well subscribe if you guys are new. Mostly a Rangers channel, if you couldn't tell, but we also do upload some other content in terms of hockey here. So this is definitely a place you'd want to subscribe to if you're looking for some nice hockey content, especially Ranger content. But we're gonna start out west just because I want to finish off with the Metro, since my team's in the division, so I want to end there. So let's start off with the Pacific Division. Coming in last place, I have the San Jose Sharks. I don't like the makeup of their team, really. They have Timo Meyer, they have Tomas Hertl, Carlson though on the blue line. Always a question mark with his health. William Eklund's going to be a stud coming in, but problem is, Reimer's probably not going to be there beyond the trade deadline. David Quinn is their coach, which is just, oh, yikes. Unless he somehow proves everyone wrong that he is a good coach, that is going to be interesting to see, to say the least. And as a Ranger fan, I know a thing or two about David Quinn in terms of how he coaches, and if he coaches anything like he did here in San Jose, yes, San Jose is going to finish in last place. And coming in seventh, a little bit of an interesting take, because I know people are a little bit higher on the team. I have the Anaheim Ducks. I think that the Ducks are a decent team. They made a couple nice moves. They got Klingberg on the blue line. They ended up adding Strome and Vetrano as well to their forward group. But guys like Shattenkirk probably won't be there beyond the deadline. Gibson, where is he going to be? The real question is, how is McTavish and Tigris, all those guys, how are they going to do? Is Troy Terry going to have the year that he just had last year? Because those are all question marks for me in terms of where the Ducks could finish. I think the Ducks could be a little higher in the standings. However, I don't think they're there yet, but they are taking steps in the right direction. That is for sure. A little bit of a hotter take, sixth place, the Seattle Kraken. Phil Grubauer, there is no way he could be as bad as he was last year. There's just zero way. He was that horrendous, so I don't know if he's going to be that bad. Could happen, and if he is, then this prediction is going to be awful, but I just don't see a world where he is. He's too talented not to. He's not going to be his Avalanche self, but he can at least be half of that. Then the Kraken are in good shape, because that forward group is great. They add Burakovsky to the mix there, and you add Shane Wright, of course, through the draft. I think that they have a nice core being built there in Seattle, so it's going to be interesting. If they finish 8th, hey, it's not that bad for the franchise. Add yourself another lottery pick there and help you build up for the future. So I like what Seattle has going on there. Dave Haxall, though, not a great coach by any stretch of the imagination. So he might be the one holding them back a bit. Same with the defensive core, a little shaky there, but I still feel like they could finish 6th place. 5th place, a bit of a hotter take as well. I have the Vegas Golden Knights. Yes, I know that people are going to say that they're going to rebound and everything. Goaltending is too big of a question mark. Health is too big of a question mark, because you have guys on that team, a lot that are on the wrong side of 30 and a lot that have proven to be injury prone, except Phil Kessel, who they add this offseason, but he's not going to make up for the scoring touch that you lost with Max Pacioretty in the offseason. So they're a little shaky. I like Logan Thompson, but I don't know how he's going to be as the starting goalie. If he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong. This is a team that I could see making the playoffs, but I have 4-4, which means I have the top 4 in this division, the top 4 in the Central Division making the playoffs. So in this scenario, Vegas missing the playoffs, which I think a lot of people don't think will happen, but to me personally, I'm going with that take, and I'm going to stick by it. And listen, this is one that I think could age poorly. I won't lie here, but it was just so hard because there were four other teams that I just liked more. And one of those teams coming in fourth place is the Vancouver Canucks. After bringing Bruce Boudreau in, that team turned it around real quick. And I really like what they have going on in Vancouver. Bruce Boudreau is a great coach. Demko is a great goalie. Their defensive core is a lot better than people give it credit for. They added McKay this offseason. I forgot they signed the guy that could win the Calder as well, the Russian player this past offseason. So there is a couple nice pieces over there in Vancouver. Podkolzin, could he take a step forward? JT Miller's not going to go anywhere now. That's kind of what just pushed them over for me personally, is that JT Miller is now 1,000% going to be there beyond the trade deadline since he signed that extension. So Vancouver in fourth place, I'm feeling confident about that. I'm on the Vancouver train. Same thing with my third place team. I'm on the LA Kings train as well a bit here, because people are sleeping on them and forgetting that the Kings took the Edmonton Oilers to 7 games this postseason, and we saw how far the Oilers got. I think the Kings are very underrated, and keep in mind they did that without Drew Doughty. You're getting Drew Doughty back, and I really like some of the younger core that they got there. They're all gonna take a step forward. With a younger team, you could only go up. There's no way you're gonna regress there. So I really like this Kings team. I think that they're very sneaky, and I think that they're a team to look out for, especially maybe come playoff time. They might be a little bit sneaky. Second place, I have the Calgary Flames. If you ask me this when they lost Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, and everyone, yeah, this was a team that I thought was going to finish in 5th place, but get Jonathan Huberdeau, get an upgrade on the blue line with Mackenzie Weegar, as well as you add Nazem Kadri. I think that this team is definitely one of the better teams in hockey still, and Daryl Sutter, you can't doubt him as a coach. He's one of the best coaches in the game for a reason, so you gotta trust Daryl Sutter there. And in first place, I have the Edmonton Oilers. I don't think that it is a debate between them and the Flames, I'd say, but you add Jack Campbell, which he's not 41-year-old Mike Smith. He's not Mikko Koskinen. You're going to win more games that way. Obviously, it's going to be a bit of a question mark with the backup goaltending there with Skinner, but I still think that they are a good enough team. You obviously are good enough when you have 2 of the top players in the entire game, the top player, and then at the very least top 5 player in the National Hockey League. So yeah, those are my Pacific Division rankings. So I'm feeling that one a little tough, but it got tougher as the divisions went on, man. Like, this was probably the easiest to predict, at least in terms of how it was in my mind. It felt like the easiest, but it just kept getting harder. It was still difficult. Now we'll move on to the Central. In last place, I have the Chicago Blackhawks. Patrick Kane's going to be gone by the deadline. They're going to move on from Jonathan Toews. They're going to move on from the guys that they picked up after the CU and Domi. They're going to be moving the deadline just to help them get some further draft capital. The Hawks don't really have much going on at all. I mean, Tyler Johnson's like the only real NHL player really left in that forward group by the time the deadline passes. He probably will be. Seth Jones, he's locked there for a very long time. Probably regret signing that deal. But yeah, the Hawks don't have a lot exciting going on there. They are going to be a last place team. And the team that you could debate them finishing last with is the Arizona Coyotes. I just think that with the youth coming in for that team, guys like Dylan Guenther, who are probably going to make the opening night roster, which I at least hope that he does, and they don't do the 7-game manipulation thing, whatever. I really hope that they just play him throughout the full season. You're the Arizona Coyotes. What do you have to lose? You got to get something to have people fill up your games. And I know arena jokes are going to be incoming from that one. But regardless, I think that the Coyotes have some nice young pieces coming through the pipeline, and that's going to be what separates them and the Hawks. The Hawks are going to lose everyone at the deadline, while the Coyotes, they got a younger team, so they're kind of on the up right now. So yeah, 7th place for them. 6th place, I have the Winnipeg Jets. I don't really have any expectations for this team. With the stories that you hear in terms of how things are in the locker room for that team, it is a nightmare. Mark Scheifele, don't think he's going to be there beyond the deadline. Blake Wheeler, he's not getting any younger. Kyle Connor is sick, but outside of that, I mean, Cole Perfetti's going to have to be absolutely ridiculous for this team to have a shot again at making the postseason, in my opinion. Coming in 5th place, if you want to define mediocrity, I think the Dallas Stars are your team, because they just are what they are. I mean, it's such a confusing team. You have guys like Ben and Sagan who have just been horrendous, but then you also have Robertson, Pavelski, and Robe Hintz, who have just been absolutely electric for them. Blue line, pretty nice. You have Heiskanen back there In goal, Jake Ottinger. Let's see if he could build off of what he did in the playoffs. I still think he's a little overrated after that one playoff run, but we'll see if he could put it together for a full season here coming up. So yeah, I think Dallas, they could make the playoffs, but you need a rebound from Ben. You need a rebound from Sagan, in my opinion, for that to happen. Fourth place, Minnesota Wild. Yeah, Marc-Andre Fleury is kind of the reason why I have them in fourth place. I don't trust Marc-Andre Fleury as much as most people do. I'm sorry. I think that Marc-Andre Fleury is a kind of a shell of himself of what he once was. So, yeah, that's kind of the issue that I have there with the Wild. Kaprizov pretty much is that team for the most part. You lost Kevin Fiala. Boldy and Rossi are going to have to come in and make big impacts. Their blue line, very sick, but the forward group, a little shaky for me to put them anywhere but fourth place. Almost put them a little higher, but I like what this next team did, and in third place, that's the Nashville Predators. I like them adding McDonough, adding Niederreiter this offseason. I really like the makeup of this Predators team. They extended Forsberg as well when it looked like he was going to be out the door, so nice to see Nashville actually stay competitive here a bit. So yeah, I have him in third place, plus UC Saros, one of the best goalies in the entire league, so you got to trust him, in my opinion. Second place, I have the St. Louis Blues. Jordan Binnington now is the full-time starting goalie. Going to be interesting. Thomas Greiss, I wasn't a fan of that signing. I don't think Greiss is anything great. So, going to be interesting to see what goes down with the goaltending there. But their forward group is just absolutely sick. You have Tarasenko, you have O'Reilly, you have Buchnevich, you have Kyrou. You have all those guys in the forward group. I'm definitely missing Robert Thomas. You have a sick forward group. The defense a little bit shaky at times, but I still think that it's good enough for them to finish in second place. Plus, Jordan Binnington, it can't be that bad in the regular season, right? Right? First place, Colorado Avalanche. I don't think I need to waste time. They're the reigning Stanley Cup champions. They're going to finish first place. They are the best team, even after losing Kadri, even after losing Burakovsky. They are the best team in that division, plain and simple. We're not going to even debate it there. So, yeah, those are my Central Division picks. And now we move on to the Eastern Conference, where things are going to get a little interesting. We're going to start off, of course, in the Atlantic Division because I want to finish it with the Metro. Coming in last place, Montreal Canadiens. This is a team that could maybe overachieve just because Caulfield might have a big year. Suzuki might have a big year. What's going to happen with Slavkovsky? Is he going to have a big year? The problem is in goal, Carey Price, he's not going to be playing at all this season. Jake Allen is their starter. Be interesting to see what goes on there in terms of that, but goaltending and the defensive core, definitely too shaky for the team, but I do like what they're doing there. I'm glad that they're rebuilding, finally picking a direction because it has seemed like forever, ever since like 2014 even, they've just kind of been this tweener team where it's like, we make the playoffs, we make it. If we miss it, we miss it. They've never just been, we're a contender, we're rebuilding. I'm glad they're finally going in a direction at the very least. So yeah, 8th place Montreal Canadiens. This is a team that I hate to have this low, but it's too competitive, that division. I have the Buffalo Sabres in 7th. And the reason why they're not that much higher is just because of the goaltending. Listen, I really do like Eric Comrie, but as a starter, I haven't seen him there. Craig Anderson's on the wrong side of 40. What is he going to do in goal for them? So, goaltending definitely a question mark. Owen Power, though, he's going to come in, make a big impact. We saw what he did at the end of last year. He looked absolutely fantastic. And then you still have Dahlin on that blue line. The offensive production from guys like Tage Thompson will continue. Question mark there. Will Jeff Skinner be what he was last year, or is he going to be the brutal, we need to get rid of this contract player that we saw the year before? Who knows there? Alex Tuck is great, but to have Jack Quinn probably coming in, JJ Paterka, they have some nice young pieces. So Buffalo, they're a few years away, but I really like what they're doing over there. I got to say that. Another team that I wanted to put higher, but I couldn't. Detroit Red Wings in 6th place. I love their blue line. I love Moritz Seider. Ben Sherrod, I thought they overpaid, but he is an upgrade on the blue line. So, Evanson's probably going to come in, make an impact for them. I'm expecting him to. Raymond in the forward group. You added Andrew Kopp, which is a nice piece there. He's definitely a nice center to have. You're in the middle 6. I think he's more of a third-line center guy than a second line, but that's besides the point. But I really like the pieces that they added. They added Perron as well. They went and made some moves this offseason. I think that it may actually pay off and they might finish higher than a couple other teams in the division. They had Ville Husso as well. That's kind of where my question mark is in goal. Nedeljkovic, what is he going to be? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But Detroit, they're definitely on the upwards, and they're going to be a team to be scared of in the Eastern Conference very, very soon. Probably as soon as next year, honestly. Fifth place, I have the Boston Bruins. This was tough because I really like their goaltending. Olmark and Swayman, really great tandem. I like Bergeron, great forward, obviously. Pasternak, great. But the problem is Marchand and McAvoy. When are they going to return? What is Krejci going to be in his return to the NHL? They have way too many question marks. That core is definitely not getting any younger. I don't know how to feel about Boston. This is a team that might sneak into the playoffs, or they're just going to. They might be worse even than fifth place, but it's kind of hard to predict with the Bruins this year. So I put them in fifth place. Fourth place, Ottawa Senators. I really, really like what they did this offseason. The Brinket, Giroux, add them to the forward group. That top six is just absolutely loaded. A bit of question marks in the bottom six there. So that's kind of a bit of a problem there. But I think the bigger question mark comes on the blue line. Who's going to be there besides Shabbat? Sanderson's going to come through. But outside of that, I mean, you got a bit of question marks. But in goal, I really like Talbot. I think Forsberg's very underrated. I think that they have a really underrated tandem. So yeah, Ottawa fourth place, and they're making the playoffs as well, in my opinion. Coming in third place, I have the Florida Panthers. They're going to take a step back. Have Kachuk instead of Huberdeau. Not that big of a loss, but the biggest loss is losing Uyghur on that blue line, in my opinion. Ekblad, we've seen it time and time again. It is hard for him to stay healthy, and you lost your insurance for Ekblad when he does go on the shelf. So if he gets hurt again, it's going to be a problem, and I feel like it's inevitable, unfortunately, because he just always get hurt, and it's sad, but it's the reality of it. And yeah, forward group, really nice. Lindell, Barkov, Chuck, like I mentioned. They have some nice pieces in the forward group. I really like it. Defensively, too much of a question mark. And then in goal, Spencer Knight and Bobrovsky, what are they going to be? I really couldn't tell you. They're a little bit shaky. So yeah, I have them in third place. Coming in second, Tampa Bay Lightning. I think that they're the best team in terms of on paper in the division. However, I have them in second because they're the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've been there 3 years in a row now. They know what they have to do. Just gather enough points to make it to the playoffs. Just win a couple regular season games. They don't have to go all out, try to win the division. They know what they need to do, and they'll ramp it up come playoff time. They're the Tampa Bay Lightning. They don't even have to go full try hard here just to make the playoffs. Yeah, they're finishing in second. Enough said there. Coming in first, the Toronto Maple Leafs. A little bit of a bold take considering their goaltending, yes, but I really think that Samsonov is better than he's shown in Washington, and I think having a better defensive core in front of him is going to help him out there. And in terms of the forward group, I mean, how could you not love the forward group there? Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, Bunting, Al Yarncroc they added this offseason. I really like that addition there. The blue line is sick as well. Again, goaltending is going to make or break this team. And Matt Murray, I don't really trust, but I do actually trust Ilya Samsonov more than most people are giving credit for. So that is my Atlantic Division predictions there. And I know a couple hot takes there, but that is the way I feel. But here's where we're going to have a couple of actually big hot takes here. Metro Division. Eighth place, I have the New Jersey Devils. And the problem with them is every single year, I say it myself. I'm like, this is going to be the year they finally take that step forward. They make the playoffs as a wild card team, or they at least are just on the outside looking in. But the problem is a couple different things. One, in goal, Blackwood and Vanacek, what are they going to be? If they're good, then this team could definitely climb up the standings. And either way, I think that the Devils are better than an eighth place team. And it's just the fact that they are in a absolute just bloodbath of a division. So with New Jersey, the problem is Lindy Ruff is coaching. That's problem number one. I can't really bank on New Jersey being good until Lindy Ruff is out the door. Jack Hughes' health is a question mark, unfortunately. He hasn't been healthy ever since he came into the NHL for a full season. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Jack Hughes there. If he could stay healthy, that changes things a bit. But even then, their forward group has a little bit of question marks. I don't like their bottom six. Their defensive core has a bit of question marks as well. So, Jersey, it's hard for me to put them any higher than eighth place. Seventh place, we're going hot take too. We're putting the New York Islanders in seventh place. And I know that people are going to say biased Ranger fan, this and that. But The problem with the Islanders is, yet again, they did not add any offensive pieces. Kyle Palmieri, if you're banking on a bounce back from him, good luck with that. He's on the wrong side of 30. Josh Bailey is as well. Brock Nelson, is he going to score at the same rate he did last year, just with like guys like Chris Kreider? I am not so sure about that one. So I don't know what's going to happen with Nelson. He was pretty much the only one scoring, especially at the beginning of the season. And people like to point at the road trip. My problem with that is they played good teams during the road trip. It's not like they were playing bad teams and it's like, oh, they were fatigued a bit and everything. No, they were losing to some really good teams. They lost to teams like the Panthers, the Lightning, and either way, like I said, Brock Nelson was the only one scoring goals for that team in the beginning of the season. Barzell, what is he going to do? Is he going to score at a higher rate? He needs to if this team wants to get back into the postseason. Wallstrom's going to have to take a step forward. What is Lane Lambert as a coach? The defense definitely got better. I like Romanov better than having Char and Green because that blue line with those two, absolutely abysmal. It was unreal that the Islanders even allowed this to. In goal, though, you know what you're getting. You're getting Sorokin. You're getting Varlamov. So you have good goaltending there. But is that going to be enough for the Islanders to finish anywhere above 7th? Who knows? They're a tricky team to predict, but I have them finishing in 7th place. Coming in 6th place, a bit of a hot take, but I have the Philadelphia Flyers. And the reason why, a couple. One, every single year, there's that team that everybody essentially says, or unanimously says, this is going to be the worst team in hockey. And it never ends up coming to fruition. So the Flyers feel like that team. I don't think it's going to happen. And also, John Tortorella being behind the bench. If you look at that Columbus team after they lost Panarin, Bobrovsky, Duchesne, all those guys to free agency, they still made the playoffs the year after, beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in that qualifier round. I don't remember how many games they took Tampa to. I think it was like 5 or 6, but still, I mean, to get a win or two against Tampa, who won the Cup that year, impressive. So John Tortorella as a coach, I just can't doubt him. I seriously cannot doubt him. And this team has some talented players too. It's not like they have no talent and John Tortorella is just walking through the door to a bunch of talentless players. No, guys like Kevin Hayes are good. Sean Couturier is a good player. Konechny is good. Farabee's good. You have some talented players there in Philly. Carter Hart, John Tortorella is going to make that defense play a lot better. Tony DeAngelo and Ristolainen, yeah, yikes there on the blue line. But, I mean, John Tortorella is going to get the most out of this team. And I think that people are kind of sleeping on the Flyers to be a bit better than they're getting credit for. Coming in 5th place, I have the Columbus Blue Jackets. Johnny Gaudreau is not going to be enough, in my opinion, for this team to make the playoffs just because in goal, I like Merzlikins, and it was sad to hear, that he had a rough year with all the PTSD he had and everything, just how rough of a year it was for him. So I hope that he bounces back and has a better year. But Korpisalo, what is he going to be? The defense is a little shaky. Werenski, you know what you're getting from him, but Gabranson, they kind of overpaid for. Forward group, I think that Laine and Gaudreau are going to be electric, but what do you have outside of that? I mean, the center core is a little bit of a question mark. How's Kent Johnson going to do? I almost had Columbus in the playoffs, but I don't think that they're there yet, but they certainly are taking steps forward. And now it's boring. You know that the top 4 is the same teams as last year. And is the order going to be the same? Well, starting off, yes, it is, because in 4th place, I have the Washington Capitals. I think that they're pretty much the same team that they were last year, so there's not much to say. They added Dylan Strome to the mix, and yeah, they're not going to have Backstrom all year, but I do like the upgrade that they got in goal. I think that adding Darcy Kemper is great, and people might look at, oh, well, Grubauer, when he left Colorado, struggled, so it might be the same thing there. The difference there, in my opinion, is that Kemper proved with the Coyotes that he's still a good goalie, so yeah, I think that the Capitals will be just fine. I have them there. And yeah, they won't have Wilson as well for a bit, but I still think they're fine. Ovi's just going to casually score like 30 goals in the first half of the season. No big deal. 3rd place, order stays the same. Pittsburgh Penguins. They're on the older side of things, but I can't doubt the Penguins. I can't doubt Crosby, can't doubt Malkin. And even if they get hurt, oh yeah, Mike Sullivan's behind the bench, and guys like Jake Gensel could carry the load, and they have guys that they could just plug into the lineup and that will just do their job. Mike Sullivan's too good of a coach. I have them finishing in 3rd place. Coming in 2nd place, I have the Carolina Hurricanes. I think that losing Pacioretty for the whole year kind of is what put them a spot below, obviously, the team there. But I think that it's just a bit of a question mark there, not having Pacioretty. They still just have that such a big hole that I feel like they've had forever in the offensive group that they really need to address at some point. They finally did Pacioretty, but When are they going to actually, have him healthy come playoff time? Maybe, but is he going to be even electric during the playoffs and be what he usually is? Because it's hard to recover from the injury that he got. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But yeah, I like the addition of Brent Burns. I think that he's better than D'Angelo. You add him with Slavin. Oh, that defensive pair is going to be absolutely sick. Freddie Anderson, what's he going to be this year? Is he going to stay healthy? Who knows? But yeah, Kane's in second place. And first place, incoming bias comments, but I don't care. I have the New York Rangers. They finally have a legit second line center. Hallelujah. You have Igor Shesterkin in goal. You may have heard of the guy. Yaroslav Halak, I think, is a better backup goalie as well. And then in terms of the defense, you now know what you have in the defensive core. Where in years prior, it's like, okay, is Keandre Miller going to take a step forward? Is Fox lingering? What steps will they take? Well, Fox, I mean, one of them, but still, is he going to be able to keep that up? He sure as hell did the year after. Lindgren, you know what you're getting from him. He's great. Keandre Miller took a step forward. Truba, a little bit of a question mark there, but maybe that C being slapped on his chest will get him a little motivated, hopefully. Schneider, you're going to get another year out of him. Jones will step into the lineup. And then the forward group, you add Vinny Trocheck to replace Ryan Strome. And it's just day and night, the difference between those. And if the three players from the kid line, that being Lafreniere, Beadle, and Kako, are anything like they were in the postseason, there's no reason not to believe that the Rangers could be a first place team. So yeah, I think that first place for the Rangers is where I'm going to put them. So now we'll quickly go to the awards before I go into the postseason picks. In terms of the awards for the Rocket Shard, I'm going boring. I'm going Austin Matthews. I think Matthews is going to repeat it again. There's a reason he scored 60 last year. He's just super talented. Yeah, Austin Matthews winning the Rocket again. Jack Adams, I don't necessarily think this guy's the best coach, but it always happens where a team just is towards the top, so they end up having their coach win it. And that's Jay Woodcroft. I think the Oilers are just going to be good enough for Woodcroft to win Jack Adams. So, yeah, that's my pick there. Calder, Jack Quinn. I wanted to go a little bit different with the pick. I know the easy ones are Kent Johnson and Mason McTavish, but I wanted to go Jack Quinn. There are so many good rookies, though, to the point where it is really difficult even to predict who is going to end up winning it. Best of trophy, I'm going with Igor again. I have him winning it back to back. I think that a big part of the Rangers finishing in first place is going to be because of Igor Shesterkin yet again. So I have him winning the Vezina. And to carry that over for the Jennings, I think Igor and Halak, I know it's going to sound biased, but I think they're going to win the Jennings trophy. This one, you could have went a couple different ways. Could have went Sorokin and Varlamov. Could have went Olmark and Swayman. I think they could easily win it as well. But I wanted to go Igor and Halak just because, I like to be biased at times. Selke, I'm going with a different pick because Bergeron's obviously the easy pick and he's probably going to win it. But I'm going Anthony Cirelli. I think that contract extension that he got, he's going to be out to play this year. And I think that people are going to finally start to see and appreciate his defensive game as a center. Anthony Cirelli is so underrated. Have him win the Selke. Norris Trophy, Kel McCarr. Hate to be boring again, but I think he's going to repeat it. And that's kind of where I was mad also that Yossi didn't win it last year. I thought he deserved it more. And McCarr was going to have another chance. And this year, he's probably going to win it. So, yeah, McCarr for the North. Art Ross, this is for who leads the league in points. I probably should explain the rest of the awards there, but I'll start explaining them now. Art Ross, whoever leads the league in points, it's going to be Connor McDavid. I mean, it just happens. So, yeah, not even going to waste time just arguing that or defending it. He's probably going to lead the league in scoring again. Well, in point scoring. GM of the year, I think you understand that award goes to the best GM. Well, not necessarily the best, but it goes to the GM that they think was the best of the year. And I have Brad Treliving just because of the fact that he was able to turn around that Calgary Flames team so quick. Pierre Dorian definitely could be another guy to win the award as well. But I really think it's going to be Brad Treliving. I think that, yeah, like I said, the moves that he made is going to be enough to have him win GM of the year because do a complete 360. I mean, where it looked like you were going to be needing to start a rebuild and things were looking shaky there, and to have them just back in contention right away, yeah, it's got to be Brad Treliving in my opinion. And I think that even if the Senators make the playoffs, it still has to be Treliving, assuming the standings are the way they are. If Ottawa finishes higher than fourth, then there's an argument. But if it's the way that I predict it, then yeah, I think if it's not Brad Treliving, it's wrong. And last up, Hart Trophy goes to the league MVP. I'm going with a very, very surprise pick because I want to be different. I want to be bold. I'm going Matthew Tkachuk because I think that he's going to be motivated after leaving Calgary, and I think he's going to be motivated to take a big step forward. And he casually had 100 points last season, so how much more of a step forward could he take? Yes, Barkov is on that team as well, but I think that Kachuk is going to get more of the credit, and I think that he's going to go in there and win the Hart Trophy. It was hard to be different with the pick here. I mean, I could have went a couple other ways. Could have went Igor, but I didn't want to be that biased. I could have went Matthews again. Could have went McDavid. Could have went a couple other guys, but I wanted to be different here. So, with that being said, we are now going to move on to the postseason. So this is where things are going to get very, very interesting, of course. So this is the way that the postseason will line up if it was the way that I predicted it. So we're gonna start in the West. We're gonna start off with the Avalanche and the Canucks. I have the Avalanche winning that series. I think that Vancouver is great, but it's the defending Stanley Cup champions. It's hard to go against them, especially for a Canucks team who's first getting back into the playoffs for the first time in a couple of years. So kind of hard for me to predict them to win. I like Bruce Boudreau, but I don't think that there's enough there to overtake them. And then with the Blues and the Predators, I actually have a bit of a surprise pick. I'm going the Nashville Predators. I think that goaltending is key in the playoffs. I always say that. And I really just like UC Soros more than Jordan Binnington. I like the defensive core more as well in Nashville, and defense is a big part of winning at the end of the day in this league. So, yeah, I'm going with the Nashville Predators to pull an upset there. Oilers and Wild, I'm going with the Edmonton Oilers. I think they're too talented not to win that series over the Minnesota Wild. I think that Campbell is a way better goalie, obviously, and they might have went to the Cup last year if it wasn't for this lackluster goaltending. And yeah, McDavid and Draisaitl, they're not going to play games. I have them winning that series. And then I have in the Flames and King series, I this one was so tough, but I'm going the Calgary Flames. I think the Kings are great, but they're still just they're still too young of a team, in my opinion, to make that big run. They might end up sneaking around here and there. They could be sneaky, but I'm having a hard time picking going with the Flames. In terms of the Eastern Conference, for who's moving on to round two, I have the Rangers beating the Senators. I think that the Rangers are just a far and away better team in terms of in goal as well. I mean, Igor Shesterkin, you have the advantage there. In terms of the forward group, I think that the Rangers are just deeper. Ottawa might have they might have a better top six unless Lafreniere ends up breaking out as we expect him to. But in terms of the bottom six and depth scoring, the Rangers definitely have the advantage there. And then the blue line, the Rangers far and away have the advantage there. Yeah, Ottawa, they're going to be here, but they aren't going to be ready to win around yet. And then for the Canes and Penguins, I have the Canes winning that series. I think that Pittsburgh is going to be bounced to the first round. Again, it's hard to bet against it happening yet again, but at the same time, I mean, the Canes are just too talented not to. This was a tough match to predict, but I'm going with the Canes at the end of the day. Leafs and the Capitals, it's finally happening. I have the Toronto Maple Leafs winning. I think Samsonov's going to be out for vengeance against his old team, and I think that overall the Toronto Maple Leafs are finally going to get it done. I think they got to come out hungry, and if they don't win a round, there is going to be a lot of heads chopped off in the organization in terms of front office wise. That there's no way Dubas stays around. There's no way Sheldon Keefe stays around. There's going to be a lot of changes when it comes to the Leafs. They get bounced again. I think that they're aware of that. I think they know they have to win around this year. So I'm going with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then for the Lightning and Panthers, I'm going with the Bolts again. And yeah, we set up a lot of rematches here for the next round. But, I mean, yeah, it's just what I think is going to happen. At the end of the day, it's hard to go against Andrei Vasilevsky and the Tampa Bay Lightning. So, yeah, I have them winning that series. And now moving on to round two, like I said, you got a lot of rematches. You have the Rangers and Canes, who were in the second round. Same with the Oilers and Flames of Battle of Alberta there. And then with the Avs and Predators, they were a first-round matchup last year, as well as the Leafs and the Lightning. And with this, we'll start out west again. Avalanche and Predators. I'm going with the Avs again. I think Saros is going to make it closer in terms of, because last year the series wasn't even close, but part of that was because of the fact that Saros was not playing. I think Saros is going to steal a game or two for them, and I think that they're just overall a better team, Nashville. this year than last year, but it's not going to be enough to beat the Avalanche. The Avalanche are just too good. Stopped at that point. So yeah, I'm going with the Avalanche. And then for the Battle of Alberta, I'm going with the Flames. I Part of me wanted to go the Oilers, but everybody has the Oilers, I feel like, winning the cup this year. And when everybody has one team winning the cup, to me, I feel like it's hard to go with that team because it just never happens. It never happens where the team that everybody thinks is going to win it all wins it all. So, yeah, I'm going with the Calgary Flames. I think that they end up getting it done over the Oilers. And yeah, I mean, a Daryl Sutter team, it's hard to doubt a Daryl Sutter team. Well, with the Eastern Conference, Rangers and Canes, I have the Rangers winning. I know that the bias comments are going to come in again, but I think that the Rangers get it done. I think that having Trocheck instead of Ryan Strome as well is going to really help them. Again, having that legit second line center. I always say you have to have a strong 1-2 down the middle to win in this league. You see all the teams that do, they have it. So I think that the Rangers end up getting it done over the Carolina Hurricanes. And then Igor is the advantage there. Igor is better than Freddie Anderson. I don't think there's any way around it. And even last year, Ronta didn't play bad. And I don't know how Freddie could have played any better than Ronta did last playoff series. So, yeah, I think that the Rangers, with them getting the production that they also did from the kid line, if they get that going again, I think that's going to be hard to stop this team. And especially because you have another year of experience under your belt. Going to be questions with the Canes if they get bounced in the second round again. But we will we'll see what happens there. And then I have the Toronto Maple Leafs upsetting the Tampa Bay Lightning. I wanted to go Tampa, but I also didn't want to be boring yet again and have a similar Final Four to last year. I wanted to be different. I think that also the Leafs are actually going to get it done. I think that they want to prove people wrong this year. I think they want to shut everyone up, and I know people have been saying that for the last however many years, but something seems different this year. Something seems different for me, and it's just my feeling. I think that the Toronto Maple Leafs get it done. In terms of the West, who moves on to the Stanley Cup? I have the Calgary Flames. This is who I thought was going to win it all last year at the start of the postseason, but I have them beating it. I think it's going to be hard for the Avalanche to get back to the dance again. They very well could, but they lost some pieces in the forward group, and they're going up against one of the guys that they lost, that being Nazem Kadri. So it's going to be a bit difficult there, in my opinion, for them. With those losses there, they, of course, still have one of the best defenses, but in goal, I mean, is Georgiev going to be able to lead you that far? I mean, he could lead you maybe past a couple rounds, but I don't think Georgiev's going to win you a Stanley Cup, which, knowing my luck, he's going to beat the Rangers now, right? But in terms of that, yeah, I'm going with the Calgary Flames. And then I'm doing it. I'm going with the Rangers in the Stanley Cup to play the Calgary Flames. I think the Rangers are a better team in goal. I think on defense, they're a better team. I think the forward group, got to give the nod there to the Leafs probably, but we know that defensive goaltending is very crucial in the postseason, so I'm going with the New York Rangers there. And winning it all for the 2023 Stanley Cup Finals, I'm doing it. I'm going the New York Rangers. I'm a homer. I'm biased. This is going to be my bias and homer pick here, and I don't care. I really feel like they get it done, and I know people are going to clown me. I know people are going to say that I'm biased, but I'm really feeling confident this year, and I think they actually get it done. It's hard for me to look at this team and say that they're going to be they're not gonna win the cup. It's hard for me to look at them and say that with the way the top six is constructed, with the way the defense is, with Igor in goal. I find it so difficult to not pick them, and then of course they're gonna make pickups at the deadline, as all these teams will. But in terms of just how they are base-wise and then adding some additions, Patrick Kane might be a Ranger, which I personally don't want him to, but it happens there. But I really think that the Rangers get it done. That is going to be a pick. I don't care that it's biased or anything. I'm going with it. It's my feeling. So that is what it is. But that is going to be it for me. And I know that everyone's going to be fuming and upset with my picks there, but that is going to be it. Sorry for making this a very long video. It's a predictions video. Of course, was going to be a long video. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, though, and sticking through if you did. Leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new. Let me know your predictions in the comment section. I'd love to hear who you guys have winning the cup, who you have in the standings, awards, whatever. Give me all your predictions down below. Tell me how biased I am. Tell me how wrong I am. I'd love to hear it from you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, though, and I will see you guys in the next one.